Why not?
You want to explain what you're doing?
Grinding. Yeah, clean, dressing it up. Dressing it all up, ready for glassing.
Wow, it looks perfect.
Yeah, I tend to put a tape along here first. It's heavily fiberglass. Yeah. But it's got quite a laminate on it. So I'd be inclined to put a tape through here, like 100mm tape,
Oh yeah.
and then one layer over.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Oh, I hadn't started thinking about it.
In terms of the laminate schedule.
Yeah, I mean, looks like it has a
Pronounced.
there's a
Pronounced
mat
bump
and then
there.
yeah. So I was gonna, try to make it
Fairly fair.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'll take this off. Like I say, I'd put like 100mm wide tape through your joint over your fresh edges.
Yep.
And then cover the whole thing over that. That's the structural tape first, and then the finishing rest of it, which could be.
Yeah, the tape would just be cloth.
Yeah. Or no. Typically use a double bias cloth.
Oh yeah.
So we have a look at those fabrics.
Yep.
And we end up putting that on.
Yeah.
Just to enable a flatter and finer finish for the paint system.
Mhm.
So these ones here. Okay, so this is a double bias tape.
Yeah.
Being two directions at 45.
Right. Really thick.
So typically, that's way thicker than you'd ordinarily need. A 400 gram would be, or 600 gram would be quite good to use on this boat.
Mhm.
So typically we cut it down the length into 100mm wide tapes.
Yep.
All the edges are all done with that.
Right. And because it's the fibres are diagonal, it goes around bends easy.
Yeah. And then some of them, they come in varying qualities too. Some of them will always hold their shape, but some of them you can actually flex them around quite complex shapes as well.
Yeah.
If they haven't got this, what we call scaffolding and binding. So, but that's typically what you tape these boats together with now.
Yeah.
The cloth is a finishing fabric.
Okay.
Whereas once upon a time they used to build with it.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because it's just a movement, it's got no strength. Partly because it's woven, so it can stretch. Whereas this is actually sewn. It's two separate layers.
It's just straight and then
straight,
joined together.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's something they kind of learnt. So you arguably need a roll of this.
Yeah.
Like just a 100mm wide, because that's the standard tape width.
Yeah.
Or you can just get a few metres of this and just cut the tapes yourself at 100mm wide.
Yeah.
So if you buy like a 10 metre piece.
Yeah.
You might only need big pieces that are 800, so you can cut a couple of hundred off of the tapes.
Yep.
Sort of organising all of that. And then this is something that we don't really use much of. But you might be able to do it. You might be able to do a couple of your smaller finishes with that. There's something choppy on it already. So you might be able to just whack that on in a few places which are smaller than that piece.
Oh yeah.
Just soak it out, and
so that's chop on the back.
That's a chopping on the back, and then it's a double bias. On the top.
Wow, it's really thick.
Yeah, possibly a bit too thick.
Do you like wet it down on the table first and then chuck it up?
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes we wet them out on a big piece of plastic, and then you can pick the whole piece of plastic up.
Oh, good plan.
So you can actually draw the shape you want on the plastic.
Yeah.
Laminate the whole piece out on it, then cut it out to the exact shape.
Like giant sticky tape.
Yeah, and then just stick it up.
That is a good plan.
Yeah. Just so with you. And then this is a nice fabric. This is a lightweight triaxial. So it's got a double bias and is it? Yeah, and two
diagonals and a straight.
And a straight one. So you use the straight ones where you want the linear strength.
Yeah.
In orientation.
Yeah.
So this is a triaxial. The zero runs down the roll.
Yeah.
Runs down the full length of the roll.
Yeah.
So you can buy triaxial.
Oh, right. So you can do something really long, like a mast or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, ideally the side of your boat.
Yeah.
And then you can buy double bias fabric that has has a 90 rather than a 0.
Yes.
And you can buy a quadriaxial, which has all 4.
Great. Right.
And so this is designed so it could just be lapped one continuously and have the same thickness. So the next layer's got the
Oh, that's why there's
yeah,
this.
yeah.
This
So it can lay out multiple
right.
passes of it.
Right.
It's quite an interesting thing, fabric science. And then this is a glass uni.
Yes, that's all one way.
It's all one way. So you orientate structure with that.
Yeah.
Typically, you know. So you might find a use for these bits and pieces. You might be able to just lose these in the boat somewhere as you go.
Well, you always need bits and pieces.
Yeah. So typically a modern boat, when we built I was on the build team for the last America's Cup monohulls,
Oh yeah.
which is going to be some time.
Yeah.
And then they have one of the fibres starts from there,
Mhm.
goes down on an angle under the centre of the boat and up to the bow on the other side of the boat.
Oh,
So
like
that's
diagonally
literally
across.
the longest piece of fibre you could possibly put on the boat.
Right.
From there to the opposite place on the other side. And the idea is that you orientate your loads down unis.
Yes.
So if you've got...
So that would end up at where the chain plates are.
No, the chain plates will have a big web.
Right.
A web. Or made like a big fan.
Right.
Like instead of having something like this, it'll have a bunch of unis holding that on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Layered around the bobbin as such. And then it'll have unis coming down, typically fanned out like
Right.
that.
Like how you reinforce a reef point on a sail.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Fabric.
Yeah.
But you're just setting it in resin.
Yeah.
And that just spreads the load around there. And then these individual layers of unis, there might be say 10,
Uh-huh.
will be staggered. Like,
Yes. So it's thick at there and gets thinner.
and it kind of diffuses the load,
Yes.
so the load doesn't have any hard points.
Yes.
So it's pretty simple. It's like muscles almost,
Yes.
sort of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So there you go. That's fabric glass. And here's a piece of double BD bi-directional. That's
Oh,
just
so that's
0
90
90.
degrees.
0 and 90.
Yeah.
It's going that way and that way.
But that's with the roll. So that's
So,
one for the back end.
That's always going to be the same.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
No, but I mean this one comes in the hole in line with the roll, so you get the really long fibres.
Yeah. Does it? Yeah, it's always going to be that way because it's two directions.
Whereas bias
Even
is
if it's
45 degrees.
45,
Yeah.
So this is bi-directional. I mean, so for your purposes, you've actually got that piece there as a uni as such.
Yeah.
Reinforced uni. This is a 64-40 bias, I think. Can't remember now. It's got more strength one way than the other. Two different weights of fabric. See, that's a wider ribbon than the other one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think. Can't
Yeah.
remember. It all gets a bit confusing. So yeah, it doesn't necessarily apply too much to what you're doing. But the tickies are all, are they composite?
They're definitely glass.
Do they do composite chain plates and stuff here?
No, I don't think so. But I did see photos of. It was from a build I saw on YouTube. It was just like a snapshot. They didn't like focus on it, but it looked like the chain plates were actually. They had drilled like 5 holes through the thing and then put like a lacing
sewn them on.
through it, and then that came up to a dead eye, and then the rigging.
Have you heard of Dick Newick?
Yes.
Well, he started putting in composite chain plates and things a long time ago. Just a bit of 10mm sheet rope, 12mm sheet rope sticking out of the boat.
Yeah.
And then so you put the rope through the hole.
Yeah.
And then you pull the rope apart.
Oh.
Fan it out.
Yeah.
And sandwich it between 2 layers of something like this.
Right.
And
That makes sense. Epoxy from Hamilton in the end.
Who was that?
Fiberglass shop.
What did you buy? West?
Yeah. I got 20 litres of West.
Yeah, because you can just buy it at Decent Technologies in Henderson. They make it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They make West, or they make
They're
generic?
the New Zealand agents for West System.
Oh.
So, yeah. How much was that?
I got the receipt somewhere, but
Under 500?
no. Well, I bought with all the fiberglass
Oh,
and
yeah, okay.
other pumps and.
You'd be horrified about how much of it you end up using.
Well, in my previous boat building,
Yeah.
you mean how the extreme amount you use?
No, it just vanishes.
Yeah. On my first couple of boat building projects, I realised the right thing to do was to buy way more than you think you'll need.
Because what you're thinking is usually wrong.
Yeah. And if you just buy what you think you need, then you run out.
Yes.
And then you're like, oh, well, I just need a little bit more. And then you buy a smaller pack. Yeah.
Pack.
And then you run out of that. And then you buy another one. And it costs you like as much as if you had just bought 20 litres. And, you know, worst case is you have a bunch left over. And then you could just like sell it to someone.
Yeah, or
with
just stick it in the locker because you want to use it later.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
No, it is. It's amazing how much resin goes into it, especially a full fiberglass boat. Good lord.
I bet.
Half the weight's fiberglass.
Yeah.
Just resin run. Adhesive Technologies in Henderson, Corbin in Henderson, are the New Zealand agent for West System, but they also make ATL resins.
Right.
And they're just the best.
Right.
That's what we use in the carbon boat industry is Adhesive Technology, limited resins,
Okay.
and they rule the world in resin technology. They're a Kiwi company.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But that's all for fabric laminating more than anything, otherwise just use West.
Yes.
It's really good.
Well, I've got West already, so
Yeah.
and that'll be enough to finish this project.
Oh no, it's all you need.
And probably build a tender too.
Yeah, good. Oh no, you'll probably need to buy another 20.